is this? I'm going to review a book that is not a manga or a light novel, even though it's written by a Japanese author. This is Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Sujimura, who wrote, now I'm going to space on the name, but the science fiction-y fantasy horror series A School Frozen in Time, which I very much enjoyed the manga. I don't know if there was an original novel version of it, but if there is, we don't have it in the States. But then recently, Lonely Castle in the Mirror was released here, and I got to read it, and I really enjoyed it. It has similar vibes, I think, to A Classroom Frozen in Time, and the fact that you have this group of young people, most of whom are going through a lot of like emotional and mental health issues, and how does that get resolved. Different takes, of course. So I'll read the synopsis here, and then I'll go into a little bit more. 7 students find unusual common ground in this warm, puzzle-like Japanese bestseller laced with gentle fantasy and compassionate insight. Bullied to the point of dropping out of school, Kokoro's days blur together as she hides in her bedroom, unable to face her family or friends. As she spirals into despair, her mirror begins to shine. With a touch, Kokoro is pulled from her lonely life into a resplendent, bizarre fairy tale castle, guarded by a strange girl in a wolf mask. 6 other students have been brought to the castle, and soon this marvelous refuge becomes their playground. The castle is a hidden room that can grant a single wish, but there are rules to be followed, and breaking them will have dire consequences. As Kokoro and her new acquaintances spend more time in their new sanctuary, they begin to unlock the castle's secrets, and tentatively each other's. With the thoughtful whimsy of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, the exquisite textures of A Tale for the Time Being, and the youthful resonance of Your Name, Mizuki Sujimura's Mizuki Sujimura paints an intricate portrait of a cycle of loneliness that can only be broken by friendship, empathy, and sacrifice. Lonely Castle in the Mirror is a mesmerizing, heartwarming novel about the unexpected rewards of embracing human connection. So, there you go. So it's our main character, Kokoro, is horribly bullied. I don't think she ever... Obviously, there's not always a reason or whatever, but people can be awful. And she had a friend that she sort of pulls back from. There's issues there, but what happened in one particular time that I think really traumatized her, because she was dealing with the bullying in school, and then one day she returns home alone, and the bullies are surrounding like her house, and she feels very uncomfortable and threatened. Like, she's home alone, and she doesn't know if they're going to break in. She doesn't know what they're going to do to her, and she's so traumatized by this event that she ends up not wanting to leave the house, and she will get panic attacks and like physically ill whenever she tries to leave the house. So she stops going to school. She just sits at home and is depressed, and I guess, stressed out, and all things terrible, and ends up, as it says, getting pulled into this mirror world where she meets other kids around her same age, and they're invited to participate in this game, and all they have to do is find the key and unlock the door, and they can win the game. And there are certain rules, like you have to leave the castle and return to your home. I think it's by 5. Probably like 5 or 6. You have to make sure that you're back home. You can't stay longer than that, or bad things will happen. And there's other rules they have to follow. So they really just start getting to know each other and uncovering some of the truths. And there's a lot that, if you're used to certain storytelling and puzzling, you can sort of see what is going on as they get closer and realize that all of them are dealing with different traumatic experiences and anxiety and sadness and depression, they do start to work with one another, where they realize, one, that they all go to the same school, and there are certain people that they seem to know or have in common, so they make a plan to meet up at a certain date, and they'll help each other get through school, because none of them have been able to go to school since certain actions have occurred. So they're like, okay, we'll meet up, and then we can make it through the day, and we'll support each other, we'll be each other's support system. But then on that day, none of them run into each other, and so you start puzzling why that would be the case when they go to the same school, and there's certain people they know. So they start thinking it's a parallel universe thing, where when they go to the castle, they're merging into one unified universe, but then when they break off, they go to theirs. And is that, or is there more going on to the story? And there's more going on to the story. But it is also rewarding to learn about the other characters, and also try to piece out the story behind the wolf girl. Who got them to the castle? Why did she do it? What's the whole deal there? And there's a certain date that they have to solve the puzzle or they lose. And that date may hold importance. Overall, yes, this is just an emotional story that is about experiencing bad stuff and how you can overcome them in the ways that you can. In this case, it is finding that human connection. It is finding the people that you can talk to and work through these problems with. Again, there's an outside character that certain of them, this person is trying to reach out to them, and there's reasons for that. I don't want to get into that whole part because it's a spoiler, but I was very happy to read this story. I'm glad it was published because it's really good, and it actually interested me in finding more from Mizuki Sugimoto. There's not that much in the States. I think I did buy another one, which now I can't think of what it's called. Anime Supremacy, maybe? So I'll be trying that book out. I think it's vastly different from both A School Frozen in Time and Lonely Castle in the Mirror, but it says Anime Supremacy, so I'm already pulled in. But I think in that case, I think it's about working in the anime industry. But hopefully there's some of the psychological aspects that is found in both of these series, because this one was really good. And I don't know, it's nice finding a book like that. What's great about this too is this has a wide range of appeal for age groups. So this would be a good read for older middle grade through high school, through adulthood. I think can enjoy reading this book. And by older middle grade, probably around 7th grade, which I think is the age of the students. I think they're in around 7th grade. And I would say from there up, I think for younger readers, unless they're very advanced and emotionally prepared for certain aspects of this book, I would say maybe not them. But for most 7th graders and up, this should be fine. And I don't know, it was good, and it was emotional. And there's a whole story that just, I would say, like, it didn't make me depressed, but it definitely, like, tugs at the heartstrings. Very emotional, very sad, but so good. And Kokoro is a good central character, because I think, one, she's able to relate to the other stories while also still having enough presence to deal with the other's trauma without making her more depressed, if that makes sense. So, very much enjoy Lonely Castle in the Mirror. I would 100% recommend this if you're a reader, and I hope you are, because you're here. Check out Lonely Castle in the Mirror. It's not too long, it's a good length, it's a great story, and there you go. That's it for this video. Until next time, bye.